Hello guys, my name is Evans and welcome to this continuation of this video. In this series we started looking at the 2017 May-June IGCSE ICT paper 3-1. In the last video we were looking at sections on web authoring, and then we pick up with data analysis in this section. So task 3, spreadsheet. Tara Webb used a spreadsheet to record the hours worked each week and calculate each employee's pay. Okay, so our currency values are in dollars with 2 decimal places, and use the most efficient methods to create the spreadsheet. Okay, so we're going to step number 10, which says open and examine the file 1731 imp.csv in a spreadsheet package. Okay, so let me just open Excel. Okay, um, okay, so what we're going to do is to just open this file. Go to browse, then the tutorials, and should be in here. Okay, it's a CSV file, so just say all files so that it's here. Good. So we have this file at hand. Okay, and so we need to save this file as a spreadsheet with the file name 17imp and your candidate number, um, for example 17imp then 999. So let's go ahead and save it as okay, so go to file, save as in the current folder, save it as a workbook, and just add your candidate number at the end. Okay, next step, place your name, center number, and candidate number um, should be center aligned in the header of the page. Okay, so insert header or footer. In the center of the page you're going to insert your name, Chikasa Evans, candidate number ZM, rather center number ZM556, and candidate number 0001. Okay, next step, on the left in the footer, add the text last edited by or on, followed by today's date, which is automated, and time, automated. So you're inserting both date and time. Okay, so in the left in your footer, so insert head and footer, then you go to footer. In the footer left aligned, you're going to insert last edited on, and then it's supposed to be date and time. Okay, so let me just see if there's a full colon at the end there. Okay, so it's just supposed to be last edited on, just that. Okay, so what you need to do now is to insert, if you want, you can insert the current date and time, because that's the format that you've been given. So followed by today's date and time. Okay, so insert, if you want, you can go to insert, let's see, no, you come back to where we were. Where was that? Okay, here. Put the time. Okay, add the current date to the header or footer, and then put the time also, just that. Okay, so and date and time, and then just click away and you see there's date and time, although it is not showing the space, so you need to put some space there so that when you click away, it shows the date and the time that you've added this. Okay, so that should be perfectly fine. Okay, so next step, merge the cells A1 to G1. Okay, and format this merge cell so that text is center aligned with a white 24-point sans serif font, and it has a dark green background. Okay, so let's go here. So A1 to G1, we merge the cells. So let's just go to the cells in question. A1 is this one. That's A1 to G1, these cells. Okay, merge them, merge and center. Make sure that they have a dark green background. So that is dark green. White. Let me just come back to the question paper. It's supposed to be first of all 24 points. So 24 points, and then so 24 points, and then the text is centered. It's supposed to be white, and it's supposed to be sans serif text. Okay, so let's go back here. So change the text to be white. Text should be white, and then I don't know if there's any other thing that we've left out. So the text is center aligned with a white 24 point sans serif font. Yeah, so it just needs to verify that the font actually is sans serif. So caliber is sans serif, so that should be fine. Okay, next step. Use cells A5 to B14 to create a named range called JC. Okay, so A5 to B14, and take a screenshot evidence of the creation of this named range and place this in your evidence document. So A5 to B14. So A5 is this one to B14. Yeah, F5 to B14, that's one. Let's just right click and define name. Check that it is F5 to B14. Just verify also in the question paper. You don't want to create a cell that is different. So F5 to B14, that's the one we have, and we need to call this name range as JC. Okay, so call it as JC, and it refers to F5. This is the absolute referencing. Remember, we talked about absolute referencing in the past and relative. Okay, so the dollar sign refers to absolute referencing, and that's the cell in question which is being highlighted over there. Okay, so what you need to do is to take a screenshot of this. Okay, take a screenshot of this. This one shows you that you've created a named range. So this is the evidence of named range being created. Okay, and say okay. Okay, so that's the named range. So what I'm going to do again is to select this and just double click on one of the borders just to enlarge it so that it looks somewhat clear. Okay, so go in your evidence document and paste evidence of the named range here. Okay, so that is the evidence. So come back also to the question paper, and yeah, so in cell D18, enter a function to look up the job description for this employee. Okay, so in cell D18, we enter a function to look up the job description for this employee. So let's go to D18. So cell D18, D is this one here, and 18 is somewhere around here. So what we want is to use the pay code to look up um, the job description for a given so the job description in question is here. Okay, so depending on the pay code, so the job code you have let's see, what are we using? Okay, we're not going to use the job code. Let's see, job description, the job code is here. Let me just go to the question again so that I just get exactly. So in the function to look up the job description. So the job description, if you come back to the Excel sheet, you have pay code, which is retrieving maybe the salary and stuff like that. Then you have the job code, which is actually looking up the job code is actually matching the job description. So for the job code, what you're going to do is to compare this job code that you have with what you have in your named range, and if there's a match, you retrieve the corresponding job description, and that is what is going to be displayed here. Okay, so what you need to do is to just actually say equal to, you can insert your VLOOKUP formula if you want. The lookup value is actually supposed to be this one. Okay, A18. Okay, that's your lookup value, and your table array is your named range, okay, which is JC um, um, in our case. So our named range is JC, and then the column index is what is supposed to be returned in um, in the in the table array. So the first column here, which is the job code, is 1, and the second column is 2. So you return, you're going to return 2. Column index supposed to be 2, and then you're going to return, rather you're going to the range lookup is actually a Boolean variable which is supposed to return false for an exact match and true for um, an approximate match. So in this case, you can type false or you can type 0. That's still fine. Okay, so I'll type false, and that should be fine. Okay, so you can verify this. The lookup function is A18 comma JC comma 2 comma false, and that should give you the value for the job description. So notice, just select this. Notice that when it is X, it is junior web developer. Go to X and you'll see that it is junior web developer. Okay, so that is done. Next step, um, in cell G18, enter a formula to calculate the pay for this employee. Okay, so this will look up the rate of pay from the pay rates table and multiply it by the number of hours worked. Okay, so this formula must include an absolute range and two relative references and must not include a named range. Okay, so what you want is an absolute range. That means that you're going to select the cells and give them the $ symbol so that they do not change. Relative references, which means the cells will be adjusting on themselves when you replicate the formula. And also the named range, you must not include the named range in this case, so JC is not going to be included. So the pay, actually you're going to use, let's just go back here. Okay, so the in G18, I think, let me just verify, it's supposed to be in G18. In G18, we're supposed to retrieve the pay. So let's look at the pay rate. Are we retrieving the pay rate? What is in this table? Okay, so come back here. Okay, the pay is supposed to be that. So scroll up. So I'm trying to just look at the pay that we have. Okay, so let's find out some more. There's some information that I'm missing because we need to find this one. So this will look up the rate of pay from the pay rates table. Okay, so we just need to retrieve the rate and then multiply it by the number of hours worked. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So the number of hours worked, actually, we have it here. This is the number of hours worked, and then the pay rate is supposed to be here. Okay, so what we need to do is to compare now the pay codes. Okay, so compare the pay code. So this pay code compared with this pay code, if there is a match, retrieve the pay rate, and then whatever you would have retrieved, multiply it by this one. Okay, so the first thing that you're supposed to do actually is to retrieve the pay rate. Okay, so let's retrieve the pay rate. So equal to, then go ahead, select your VLOOKUP formula, and then when you do that, the lookup value is actually the pay code, which is C18. The table array, in this case, we're just getting this one just from here to there. Okay, to E8, I don't know, E7, this is E8. That will be your table, but you need to make sure that this one is absolute referencing. Okay, so I'll show you how you can make this one absolute referencing just by clicking when it's like this. Just press on F4 on your keyboard, and it makes it absolute referencing. Okay, why absolute referencing? Because we want, because this range that we've selected, or this table array that we've selected, it remains the same. It will not change. Even if when we replicate the formula, it still remains the same, okay, throughout the working of this Excel sheet. Okay, we are referring to the same portion of the Excel sheet. Okay, so this is why we make it as absolute referencing. Okay, now two, the column index is what column are we retrieving the value from. So the first one is 1 and the second one is 2. So we're retrieving it from the second column, and we want the false value, which is an exact match. Okay, now this one just retrieves the pay rate. So if I click on OK, you notice that the pay rate, when the pay code is A, the pay rate is 15. Okay, let me just close this. So the pay rate is 15. Now what we are told is that this formula, um, the pay rate must be multiplied by the hours worked. So this one should be multiplied by hours worked, which is that one, F18, and hit enter key on your keyboard, and that is the case. Now if you notice this formula, we have an absolute referencing and a relative referencing. Absolute referencing, which is this one with a dollar sign, and relative referencing, which is C18 and F18. What happens when you drag or copy this formula and drag and drop and all, C18 and F18 will be adjusting depending with the row number that we are on, but D5 and D and E8 will not change. They will remain the same. So this is what you refer to as relative and absolute referencing. Okay, so that should be perfectly fine. Hit enter key on the keyboard and you should see that there. Okay, so now we're told that all currency values should be formatted to 2 decimal places. We come back here. We're told that all currency values should be formatted to dollars, and they should be 2 decimal places. So let's format these. We can format them here, or if there's another portion of the question that tells us to format them, then we can do the formatting. Okay, so we're going to do the formatting later, because I see step 18 actually asks us to format, so that should be fine. Okay, so okay, I think I'll end on step, I don't know how much time I've used here, but let me do step 15. Okay, it says replicate the formula from steps 13 and step 14 for all employees. And so come back here, and we need to replicate this formula. So just drag and drop this one to the last value, which is here. Okay, and you see that, and then also get this one, drag and drop it on the last value, which is this one. Okay, so just select the table and double click just to adjust the field. So we done the replication. In cell F60, enter a function to calculate the average number of hours worked by the employees and display this to the nearest whole number. Okay, so this is in cell F60. So we want to find the average number of hours worked by the employees and display this to the nearest whole number. So in cell F60, so F is this one and F60 is this one. The average number of hours worked is supposed to be here. So we're supposed to display this to the nearest whole number. I think, let me just verify. So it's supposed to be displayed average worked, displayed to the nearest whole number. So what you need to do first of all is to get average, okay, and get now the cells involved. Now the cells involved, remember this is F, the first one we had was F18. Remember we just used F18, and the last one we have is this one, okay, F58. Okay, and do close it and do that. Okay, now we need to display this one to the nearest whole number. Okay, to the nearest whole number. Now there are a number of ways that you can do this. You can either use this one here, or you can use the round function. Okay, um, but because we have not been told to use the round function, you can just simply knock this out and display it as a nearest whole number like that. That should be perfectly fine. Okay, you notice it's 22, which is a whole number. Alternatively, you can use the round function and supply zero number of decimal places. So instead of knocking the zeros out, you can just get this average and pass round, and then number of digits that you want. I think like this, and wow, did I just do that? Okay, so let me see. Round. Is there something I can use? Is there something like int? Okay, int. Okay, rounds it to the nearest integer. Okay, so let's use int. Okay, and pick it up. I think we use the decimal places there um, in some way. I don't know, but it shouldn't give us the 0.00 there. Let me just leave it. Let me just undo this. It shouldn't give us the 00. I don't know, maybe it's because we put in some decimal places initially, but it shouldn't give us this one. So let me just do that. I think it's because we did this initially. But what should happen is that whether if you use int value or int average, whatever, it's supposed to be just giving you the integer number without the decimal places. Okay, because integers don't support decimal places. Okay, so that should be perfectly fine. Unless we are told to specifically use the round function or the int function, then we can go ahead and do just that. Okay, I think I've done some many minutes in this video. Um, what I'm going to do is that in cell, let me just check the time, guys. I don't want these videos to be very long. Some people tell me that the videos sometimes they tend to be very long. Okay, so I think I'll end this video here, and in the next step we're going to pick up with step number 20, rather step number 17, and 17 will take us all the way to step number 22, which should be the last one in this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you shortly in the next video.